Hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the A word, anxiety. If you're new to our channel, welcome. I'm super happy to have you here. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with our weekly videos on mental health related topics and helpful coping skills for you to apply in your own everyday lives. My name is Gabriel Arroyo and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist located in Southern California. So today we're going to be talking about the A word, anxiety. So let's talk about anxiety, what it is, where it comes from, and how we deal with it. So the first thing that I want to touch base on is anxiety is a natural response for us to have with situations that are uncomfortable, unknown, and scary. So anxiety is going to be a response that we naturally have for new things and things that we're not aware of. It's our mind telling us that something important is happening. So I want you to keep that in mind, that anxiety is going to be a part of our lives. It's telling us that something important is happening. So let's keep that in the back of our mind, because that's the first important thing to know about anxiety, is that it is going to be a natural response. The second thing is the value we place on something. So it comes from the value we place on something that creates more anxiety. In previous videos, I talked about the anxiety I have about doing these videos. And that's because of the value I put on it. I really care that it's helpful for you as an audience and that you like these videos. Am I going to please everybody with these videos? No. So that's not where my anxiety comes from. My anxiety comes from the value that I place on it, making sure that I am speaking truthfully and that I'm speaking real to the audience to be able to help you. And so that's a value I place on it that makes it really important. So I do get anxious about the content and what I say and how I say it and how I look while I say it. But ultimately, it's because I put the value on it of its importance to me as it's important to you. So we're going to keep those two things in mind, and we're going to kind of look at how we experience anxiety. It's our mind telling us that something important is happening. And then two, there's the factors we put on it, the importance we put on it. So when we look at the examples that we experience anxiety, we have to look at, okay, is this something important that's happening? So is this a natural response that I should be having in this situation? And then two, am I increasing the value in my own mind, in my own perspective, to create more anxiety with it? And then once we know that, then we could start challenging the values we put on there. So with my YouTube example, I know that's important, and it is important to me no matter what. But I also take the time to focus on that and say, yeah, you know what? I am speaking true, and I am giving information to the audience, and the people that need it and want it and like it will use it, and the ones that don't won't. So that's how I kind of balance that out to where I don't have to be anxious and essentially not do a video because I don't like feeling anxious. And I assume that's why you clicked on this video, is you don't want to feel anxious either. So let's talk about how we're going to overcome those anxiety feelings. Once again, it's challenging the values we put on there. So evening it out. There was an example that I had early on in my career. I was really anxious about talking to people. I had a lot of social anxiety, so I didn't like being around a lot of people. And I really had to dive into why. What was the value I put on that? And the value was I was worried about how other people viewed me. I was worried about how I looked, how I presented, how I spoke, and what they were ultimately going to think about me. And I know a lot of people experience that as well. So this is how I corrected that, is I didn't keep everybody else's values and opinions over mine. I balanced it out. We were all equal, right? We're all equal. We're all together. We're all doing the same thing. And essentially nobody's here to judge me. Right? We're here doing whatever it is that we're here for. So the examples were like, if I go to a store, I used to think that internally. It's like, oh man, people are looking at me. realistically, nobody cares, right? When I go into my favorite store, I'm going in for a specific item. That's what I go shopping for. And that's what everybody else is shopping for as well. So I would challenge my thoughts and say, no, I don't need to have other people's opinions valued higher than my own. And then that anxiety started to decrease when I realized we're just there for what we're there for. So I want you to think about that when it comes to an example or an experience that is creating anxiety for you. Think about the value you're putting on that anxiety trigger. And then how do you challenge it to decrease your anxiety? This goes along the lines of the previous video I did with stop shoulding all over yourself. Putting that demand and that expectation and that increased value on things we have to do. We don't have to do that, right? And challenging that is going to alleviate a lot of that anxiety to where we're balancing out the value to where we could just do what we have to do or do what we want to do. If you have any questions, be sure to comment below. I'd love to hear what some of the challenges that you might experience, and let's walk through it. Let's talk about how we balance out those values and challenge those demands that we put on ourselves so that way we could decrease that anxiety. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with our weekly videos on mental health related topics and helpful coping skills for you to apply in your own everyday lives. Thank you.